fuck's sakes, here we go again. How many times do I have to say it? All progressives do is lie. And how many times do I have to say it? The Last Jedi is one of the worst movies ever made. And here, we can finally talk about both of these things at once because we have a Star Wars story about Star Wars, not a Star Wars story. That would be Solo, the movie that lost $180 million. No, we have a story where the lying fraud, this is pretty much, it's not fraud, it's definitely an attempted misuse of information in order to deceive the public, as well as it's about The Last Jedi, the Star Wars movie. So, Rian Johnson, as well as many independent far-left nerd sites and whatnot, have posted a study. No, it's a survey by a research group. No, by an undergrad with no PhD, concerning that most, what do you call it? Most, or he said 58%, I believe, of detractors of Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi are... God, it's really complicated to put this. 58% of the detractors of Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi are politically motivated and, quote, maybe Russian bots. None of that is true. Not literally any of that is true. What we have here is a survey that was posted online by some random ass grad student. I think he might have actually been an undergrad student, so not a PhD, not a university study, and he surveyed 967 tweets. If I wanted to right now, I could go to IMDb and look at over 10,000 one-star ratings on IMDb for The Last Jedi that are improperly calculated. By the way, the IMDb score as well as the viewer score on Rotten Tomatoes are fraudulent because the politically motivated websites of IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes have weighted their user review scores for The Last Jedi in order to either ignore most or all one-star ratings. The thing is, the ratings are still there, and you can read the user reviews, which don't have a character limit of like 280, so you can actually get a detailed reason why these people hate these movies. And this guy wants to assert that 58% of them, they're political because they called Rian Johnson an SJW, which he is. That is a fact. And part of the reason why The Last Jedi is a piece of shit movie, not all of the reason, part of the reason that the movie is a piece of shit is because of ham-fisted political propaganda that is blatant and has no need to be in the movie. The entire Canto Bight sequence does not need to exist. It is a complete fucking waste of time and serves only for the writer and director of the movie to masturbate himself. It serves no purpose to the overarching plot or to the characters who take part in it. It is a waste of time, except for, I guess, maybe to introduce the worst rogue character ever to exist, DJ, and also to introduce the very bad special effects of the space puppy horse creatures. Anyway, didn't mean to go too far back into reviewing that piece of shit movie. Look, the point is, there are actually hundreds of thousands of people who hate The Last Jedi. Over half the fandom dislikes the movie. The Last Jedi made a little more than half as much money as The Force Awakens, and that downtrend continued through Rogue One, or actually even, I believe Rogue One came out first. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it did. And still didn't make as much money, and then the downturn continues through to Solo. You need to realize that is because the people who are making these movies suck. Okay, J.J. Abrams is a hack. Rian Johnson is a drooling, mentally retarded fucking chimpanzee disguised as a human being. And the reason why this person said it might be Russian bot is because they called him a leftist or a Democrat or something. And I can assure you that I see dozens of people per day who assume that if you're anti-SJW or if you're anti-progressive, forget liberal, okay, they call liberals Russian bots all the time. I think easily half, if not most, of anti-SJWs are liberals, okay? Um, so to call these people Russian bots purely based on a hint at a political affiliation is a fraud. Claiming that any percentage of detractors of the movie are any particular way because of a sample size of less than 1,000 when this was a movie, despite a decrease in popularity in the series, was still seen by hundreds of millions of people. So you need to stop lying. You need to realize that Rian Johnson is a fucking liar. He is a hack. He is a fraud, and he needs to basically never work in Hollywood again because he lacks the talent, and he is a bad person as well as a bad director and bad writer. He is a talentless asshole. Okay? And of course, since he's also a political partisan hack, he is going to spread frauds like this. And keep in mind that, the news broke because Rian Johnson said, was shared this study. Now, you can actually see in his original tweet mentioning the study, I haven't read this. I don't have time to read this. However, it sounds right to me. It sounds like my experience online. Well, Rian Johnson, it's not your experience online. I know people have said worse things about you than I have. I bet you that people have claimed to want to fucking shoot you in the face or something. I bet you've read that once or twice in between hundreds of thousands of people telling you you're a fucking loser because you're a fucking loser. And of course, we're going to be seeing more people like Rian Johnson and quite possibly more of just Rian Johnson, period, because shockingly, Kathleen Kennedy's contract with Disney Lucasfilm has been extended for 3 years, and there is nobody on the entire of Disney Lucasfilm who is sabotaging Disney Star Wars more than Kathleen Kennedy. Not J.J. Abrams, not, I forget the name of the actress, I believe it's Kelly Marie Tran, who plays Rose Tico, not her. Not J.J. Abrams, not Rian Johnson. Specifically, Kathleen Kennedy is the death of Star Wars. And Disney doesn't seem to understand that they are absolutely hemorrhaging money because of her specifically. The reason why Solo, a Star Wars story, lost a titanic amount of money is because of her specifically. Not even necessarily because of the movie, but because of her pulling in Ron Howard to reshoot 80% of the movie and almost triple the movie's budget. It's her fault. So yeah, the failure of the Force is female, ladies and gentlemen, no matter how bad Rian Johnson is. And of course, always read the studies people report on you, because almost all of the time, the progressive news media, which of course lies 100% of the time, but, even if they're telling the truth about what a study says, you may find out that the study is bunk. There's even grammatical errors and spelling errors all over this published fucking study. It's a sham. Made by some random politically motivated cocksucker student with no objectivity whatsoever, and is being spread like it's science. No, it's not. It's propaganda. Same thing as all leftists do. All they do is lie because they have to not tell the truth in order to make you believe something that's not true. Anyway, that's it.